Welcome to Farming Aid.
In the world of modern ranching, one challenge continues to frustrate farmers and cattle producers everywhere: how to make the most of land that isn't flat, easy, or perfectly fertile. Steep hills, rocky slopes, and rugged terrain often sit unused while most cattle breeds crowd around lowland pastures and water sources. But a powerful shift is happening in grazing systems around the world. Ranchers are beginning to unlock the potential of these overlooked landscapes through what many now call the Vertical Grazing Revolution, and at the center of it is the remarkable Tarentaise cattle. In this video, we explore how Tarentaise cattle are transforming modern grazing strategies and why more producers are turning to this hardy alpine breed. From their incredible ability to navigate mountains to their reputation for fertility, resilience, and low-input productivity, Tarentaise cattle are proving that the future of sustainable ranching may lie not on flat ground, but higher up the hillside. To understand why Tarentaise cattle are at the center of this idea, you have to picture the landscape that shaped them. The Tarentaise Valley in southeastern France is not a flat pasture or an open prairie. It is a world of steep slopes, rocky ridges, alpine meadows, and narrow valleys carved by glaciers. Over centuries, farmers in this region depended on cattle that could survive in places where traditional livestock struggled. The animals had to climb daily, graze sparse vegetation, and tolerate sudden swings between freezing nights and warm afternoons. Through this natural selection process, Tarentaise cattle evolved into one of the most rugged grazing breeds in the world. Unlike many modern cattle breeds that were developed primarily for feedlot efficiency, Tarentaise cattle were shaped by terrain itself. Their environment forced them to become athletic, adaptable, and extremely efficient grazers. The slopes they traveled often ranged from moderate hillsides to near mountain cliffs, and herds routinely moved from lower pastures to high alpine grazing areas thousands of feet above sea level. In fact, traditional alpine grazing systems move Tarentaise cattle from spring pastures around 2,500 feet up to summer pastures near 8,000 feet. That vertical movement created a breed with a unique physical structure. Tarentaise cattle developed powerful hindquarters, strong legs, and extremely durable hooves capable of gripping rocky ground. The constant climbing built natural muscle and cardiovascular strength, allowing them to travel long distances each day without losing condition. Researchers and breed associations often point out that this climbing lifestyle contributes to the breed's natural muscling and marbling. In a modern ranching context, this ability translates into something very valuable: cattle that utilize land other breeds ignore. Most conventional cattle prefer to graze on flat areas near water sources. When they encounter steep slopes or rough terrain, they often avoid those areas entirely. That means large portions of pasture remain underutilized, leading to uneven grazing patterns and wasted forage. Tarentaise cattle behave differently. Studies tracking cattle movement on rangeland have found that Tarentaise cows consistently graze at greater vertical distances from water and spend more time on steeper slopes than breeds like Hereford. In simple terms, they are far more willing to climb hills and explore rugged ground to find forage. This single trait has enormous implications for ranch management. When cattle distribute themselves across hills, ridges, and valleys rather than concentrating in low areas, pasture utilization becomes far more balanced. Grasses that would otherwise go untouched are consumed, invasive weeds are suppressed, and soil health improves because grazing pressure spreads more evenly across the landscape. That is where the concept of vertical grazing begins to take shape. Instead of treating hills and mountains as marginal land, ranchers using Tarentaise genetics start seeing them as productive grazing territory. The cattle themselves become tools for unlocking forage resources that other breeds leave behind. Another reason Tarentaise cattle excel in vertical grazing systems is their moderate size and efficiency. Unlike some large beef breeds that require high-energy diets, Tarentaise cattle were developed to convert rough forage into milk and meat with remarkable efficiency. Their bodies are designed for survival in environments where feed quality changes constantly. Historically, the breed was valued for milk production in the Alps, particularly for the famous mountain cheeses produced in the region. Even without heavy grain supplementation, Tarentaise cows produce substantial amounts of milk with high butterfat content, supporting both dairy and dual-purpose systems. This efficiency remains one of the breed's most important traits today. Ranchers who rely on pasture-based systems often prefer cattle that can maintain body condition while grazing natural forage rather than requiring expensive supplemental feed. Tarentaise cows fit that model almost perfectly. They convert grass into production while traveling long distances across uneven ground. Maternal ability is another factor that strengthens their reputation among ranchers exploring vertical grazing systems. Tarentaise cows are known for easy calving, early maturity, and strong maternal instincts. Calves are typically born vigorous and begin nursing quickly, traits that are extremely valuable in remote grazing environments where human intervention may be limited. In mountain and foothill ranching systems, this reliability reduces labor and improves herd survival rates. Calves raised on rugged terrain also tend to develop strong legs and endurance, mirroring the adaptability of their mothers. The Tarentaise breed's distinctive appearance reflects its alpine origins as well. Most animals display a rich auburn or reddish coat with dark pigmentation around the eyes, muzzle, and hooves. These darker areas are not merely cosmetic. They provide natural protection against sun exposure, pink eye, and other environmental stresses that can affect cattle grazing in open landscapes. Hard black hooves are another defining feature. In rocky environments where softer hooves might crack or wear down quickly, Tarentaise cattle maintain strong foot health. This durability allows them to climb slopes daily without suffering the lameness problems that can limit other breeds. The breed's temperament also plays a role in its success. Tarentaise cattle are generally calm and manageable, which makes them suitable for rotational grazing systems where cattle are frequently moved between pastures. Ranchers who practice regenerative grazing often prefer breeds that adapt quickly to movement and new environments, and Tarentaise cattle have proven capable of doing exactly that. When Tarentaise genetics spread beyond Europe, ranchers quickly noticed their advantages in difficult landscapes. The first animals were introduced to North America in the early 1970s, and from there the breed expanded into many regions of the continent. In the United States and Canada, Tarentaise cattle gained attention primarily as crossbreeding partners. Ranchers discovered that when Tarentaise were crossed with traditional British breeds like Hereford or Angus, the resulting cows often displayed improved fertility, longevity, and grazing ability. The hybrid offspring retained strong maternal traits while gaining the rugged adaptability of their Tarentaise ancestors. This crossbreeding success helped establish the breed's reputation as a foundation for low-input ranching systems. Instead of relying heavily on feedlots and grain finishing, many ranchers began experimenting with pasture-based operations where cattle spend most of their lives grazing natural forage. As regenerative agriculture gained momentum, Tarentaise cattle found themselves perfectly aligned with its principles. Regenerative grazing emphasizes soil health, biodiversity, and efficient land use. Cattle that travel widely across landscapes, graze diverse plants, and distribute manure evenly can significantly improve pasture ecosystems. Tarentaise cattle naturally perform these roles because their instincts encourage them to explore rugged terrain. When placed in rotational grazing systems, they often climb hillsides that other breeds avoid, spreading grazing pressure across the entire pasture. This behavior also reduces the environmental problems that sometimes occur when cattle concentrate around water sources. Overgrazing near streams or ponds can damage vegetation and lead to soil erosion. Because Tarentaise cattle willingly travel farther from water, they distribute grazing more evenly across the landscape. Another fascinating aspect of the vertical grazing revolution is how it changes the way ranchers view land. Traditionally, steep hills and mountainous terrain were considered less valuable for livestock production. Ranchers focused their herds on flat valleys and irrigated pastures while leaving hillsides underused. But when cattle are capable of climbing and grazing those slopes effectively, the equation changes. Land that once seemed marginal suddenly becomes productive. Pastures can support more animals without increasing feed costs because cattle access forage that would otherwise remain untouched. In mountainous regions around the world, this concept has enormous potential. From the Rockies in North America to the highlands of South America and Asia, millions of acres of rugged grazing land remain underutilized. Breeds like Tarentaise offer a way to transform those landscapes into productive livestock systems. Climate resilience is another reason ranchers are paying attention to Tarentaise cattle. Because the breed evolved in environments with extreme temperature swings, it tolerates both cold alpine winters and warm summer conditions. Historical records show the breed adapting not only to European mountains but also to diverse climates ranging from dry plains to humid coastal regions. As ranchers search for ways to make agriculture more sustainable, these traits are becoming increasingly valuable. Vertical grazing represents a shift in thinking, where the landscape itself becomes an asset rather than a limitation. Tarentaise cattle demonstrate that livestock can work with nature rather than against it. Their ability to transform rugged hillsides into productive grazing areas shows how traditional breeds still hold solutions for modern agriculture. In many ways, the vertical grazing revolution is simply a rediscovery of ancient wisdom. Farmers in the French Alps understood centuries ago that the right cattle could thrive in the mountains. Today's ranchers are learning that the same principles can help them build resilient, efficient, and environmentally balanced grazing systems. What makes this breed so remarkable is that it does not rely on heavy grain feeding, expensive infrastructure, or perfectly flat land. Instead, Tarentaise cattle work with the environment. They spread grazing pressure across hills and valleys, use forage other breeds ignore, and help ranchers unlock the full potential of rugged pastures. This approach is what many producers now call the vertical grazing revolution, a system where elevation becomes an advantage rather than a limitation. For ranchers searching for resilient, low-input cattle that thrive in tough conditions, Tarentaise genetics are proving to be a powerful solution. From the mountains of Europe to ranches across North America and beyond, these hardy cattle are showing that smart grazing strategies and the right breed can transform the way livestock are raised. If you enjoyed learning about the vertical grazing revolution and the incredible abilities of Tarentaise cattle, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more livestock and ranching insights, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever seen cattle grazing steep terrain like this, or would you consider raising Tarentaise cattle on your own land? Let us know your experience.